आज ही डाउटनेट ऐप डाउनलोड करें। डाउटनेट पर होगा अब आपके सभी मैथ्स, केमिस्ट्री, फिजिक्स और बायोलॉजी डाउट्स का सफाया। बस अपने क्वेश्चन की फोटो खींचो, उसे क्रॉप करो और तुरंत वीडियो सोल्यूशन पाओ। डाउनलोड नाउ।
Hello students, today's question is draw the graph of y is equal to sin x cos square x. Okay, so now let us begin with the solution. Here we are given that y equals sin x into cos square x. Okay, so now let us discuss some important points before proceeding. The domain of this whole thing will be R, real numbers. Why? Because the domain for sin x is R and also cos x is R. So the domain of sin x into cos square x will also be R. Okay, so its domain will belong to capital R. Now we will talk about the period of sine. For sine, it will be 2 pi, and for cos also the period will be 2 pi. So for sin x into cos square x, the period will also be between 2 pi. Okay, so we will draw the graph between 0 to 2 pi and we will repeat it. Okay, so now for x is equal to 0, pi and 2 pi, for all these points we know that sine will be 0. Okay, sine will be equal to 0. So if sine is 0, then the whole term will become 0. So at these points we can say that this implies at these points y will be equal to 0. Similarly, at x is equal to pi by 2 comma 3 pi by 2, at these points cos is 0. Okay, so if cos is 0, then this whole term again will be equal to 0. So we can say that at these points also y will be equal to 0. Okay, now we were given that y is equal to sin x into cos square x. So now we will find y dash. So y dash will come equal to cos x into cos square x. Here we are applying product rule, plus sin x into, then here 2 cos x into minus of sin x. Okay, on further simplification, here we will get cos cube x minus 2 cos x sin square x. So the final value for y dash will be equal to, if we take from here cos common, it will be equal to cos square x minus 2 sin square x. Okay, so now y dash is 0. Y dash will be 0. So we have to equate this thing with 0. So from here we get cos x is equal to 0 and this thing cos square x minus 2 sin square x will also be equal to 0. Okay, so from here we can say that cos square x is equal to twice of sin square x, or we can say that tan square x is equal to 1 by 2, or further we can say that x is equal to tan inverse 1 by 2, and this whole thing we can assume it to be alpha. Okay, now from here we can say that the value of x will be what? Pi by 2, as cos is 0 at pi by 2, then it can be 3 pi by 2, and so on. Now here 10 is positive, so it will also be positive in the third quadrant. So from here we can also say that the value of x will be pi plus alpha. So our points are x is equal to alpha, pi plus alpha, pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2. Okay. So finally we can say that for y is equal to sin x into cos square x, when x belongs to 0 to pi, the value for y will be what? Positive. Okay. And for y is equal to sin x cos square x, x belongs to pi to 2 pi, the value for y will be negative. Okay. Now let us draw the graph. This is our y-axis. Here we have 0. Here we will have positive values, and this side we will have negative values. So from 0 to pi by 2, then from pi by 2 to pi, then to 3 pi by 2, and then to 2 pi. Okay. So our graph will be positive. It will be positive from 0 to pi, and that means pi by 2 will also, it will be positive. So we can say that from 0 to pi by 2 it will oscillate like this, and then from pi by 2 to pi also it will be positive. So it will be above this line. Okay. And it will be negative from pi to 2 pi. Okay. So our graph will go like this. Okay. So this is our required answer. Thank you.
क्लास 6 से 12 से लेके नीट IIT JEE मेंस और एडवांस के लेवल तक 10 मिलियन से ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट्स का भरोसा। आज ही डाउनलोड करें डाउटनेट ऐप या व्हाट्सएप कीजिए अपने डाउट्स 8400 400 400 पर।